Ladies and gentlemen, Ashley Thomas presents Personal Responsibility. Ashley Thomas.
So, here I am. This is me. I was born in 1962 at the Baptist Hospital in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I was born with spina bifida. And at that time, no one knew what it was. It was not that common. And this picture, I was 3.5 months old, and it was 2 weeks before my first surgery. So, like many children born with disabilities and their parents, one of the first questions that comes to mind is, why was I born this way? Do I have a purpose? Will they have a good life? Can we expect the same out of them as we can our other children? So, my first surgery did happen at 4 months, and these were the outcomes my parents were given after that surgery. She will not walk, she will have a waterhead, which is hydrocephalus, she will not talk, and she will be a vegetable. And that is how my parents left the hospital. So there was no expectation for a good life for me. Here I am now at 3.5 years old, and I was able to walk with an unusual gait, and I did have hopes and dreams. And you will notice here that I was wearing no shoes because shoes became a real issue for me. It became, what did start happening were some daily challenges, and then something as common in shoes became a very difficult thing to find. And what did happen, I really commend my parents, is they began cultivating a spirit of thanksgiving and being thankful for what I could do. Surgeries were a part of my life. I stopped counting after 25, but through surgeries, coping skills were gained in the healing process. Appreciation for what I could do was developed, and choosing thankfulness became a key to living positively. In school, I began to see how I was not able to run as fast as other children, and I was the last one picked. I was afraid to laugh because I would have little accidents due to the spina bifida. And sadly, no one could explain to me that is why I was having accidents. And the battle with insecurities began. Surgeries were many. I was never in the conversation when it was made. It was always about me and that I would be fixed. I saw that I did not fit in, and I was broken. However, I longed to be part of my community. I wanted to have friends. I wanted to have meaning. A new discipline was cultivated. I needed to learn how to hear the needs of others. I learned how to look out of myself and to see the needs of those around me. And in reaching out to others, a noise was uttered, a gentle breeze blew, and that hidden place within opened to light, and a voice was born, and it has not stopped since. Oh, and I'm slow now. And this is my dear husband, James, and we have been married 27 years this October. And, thank you. In learning to love and to care, we had 3 children, and this is my daughter, Jo, 21, and my son, John, who is 16, and my son, Zan, who's 24. And all 3 of my children have something special. My youngest son has high-functioning autism, my daughter is ADD, and my oldest son has dyslexia. They all are very successful in school. So having 3 children did take a toll on my body, and I began using a wheelchair, learning to push a grocery cart, watching football games with binoculars on the outside of most places I couldn't get into. But I discovered that I could do a 5K in a wheelchair. And that was the beginning of a long journey on the fast, high pace of athletics. So that spurred me on to doing the 60-mile Coleman walk, playing on a men's wheelchair basketball team. I can hold my own. And eventually earning a spot on the U.S. National Para-Kayak team. But what else it did is it taught me what physical activity did for people with disabilities, because it was the piece that kept me healthy and mentally, emotionally, burning off stress when you're limited to what you can do. And through my journey in life, I met many people who shared a common path. In desiring to have meaning, to be productive, and share with others, I wanted to share my love of sports with others. Thus, Bridge to Sports was born. Some of you may know this young man. This is our famous Nolan Turner. And this is a picture of him when he joined Bridge to Sports. And part of our sports, we teach responsibility, Personal responsibility, setting goals, changing personal outcomes that you can control that, having expectations, and finding acceptance and being on a team. This is Nolan 1 year later after being in our program. And I'm really proud. Some of you may have read the story about the little guy who got his money stolen, raising money for his wheelchair basketball team. But what I was so proud about is he chose to make a difference, and he wanted something different, and he made a plan to make it happen. And the end of that story is that he raised nearly $50,000, and he chose to change his outcome. So for those who are given no expectation, no future, adaptive sports is like a seed of life that falls into a crack in a dark crevice, sprinkled with care, encouragement, and surrounded by those who believe that you can. It brings hope, and hope turns to life. And I am Ashley Thomas, founder and director of Bridge to Sports, and we do adaptive sports, and that's what I am passionate about, and I don't believe you're ever too old to try anything new, so good for you. Thank you.